Super Mario Brothers, the new film coming from Universal Pictures and Illumination Studios, starring Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Jack Black, Anya Taylor-Joy, among many others. Well, we've got some initial box office projections that are now on the board, and quite frankly, they're big. Here we go. Renegade Online. Well, welcome back. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. It's good to see everybody out there once again. And if you are like one of the many folks watching this video, not yet subscribed to this channel, please take a moment, turn that little red subscribe button to gray, hit that notification bell, hit the like button, share this sucker out on the social medias, and of course, please do leave a comment below this video before you head out the door today. YouTube loves those comments. We love them too. Try to respond to as many as we possibly can here, but there's always more. Approaching 20,000 subscribers now on Valiant Renegade because of the great audiences out there like you watching videos like this. Let's get into Super Mario Brothers, the movie, starring Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jack Black, all kind of great actors and actresses in this film. This looks absolutely spectacular. The final trailer dropped a few days ago, and sure enough, right on the heels of that, we started getting early box office tracking for this film, as ticket pre-sales are now available in theaters nationwide and in many places around the globe. And the numbers, quite honestly, are, to say the least, somewhat what we expected to be. We always thought this was going to be a huge blockbuster of a film, once again, for Illumination Studios, Universal Pictures, which gave us Minions: Rise of Gru last year, which came exceptionally close to touching that coveted $1 billion global mark. And this movie, I promise you, is going to be even bigger. Let's take a look at the recent article from Box Office Pro. Super Mario Brothers movie on course for a stellar Easter debut. Potential $100+ million long weekend haul. From the article, the Super Mario Brothers movie is generating considerable awareness and interest across all four audience quadrants as a multi-generational franchise with family appeal. It's compounded by a strong goodwill for both the Nintendo and Illumination brands. Now, that's a key factor. This is something that the Walt Disney Company, quite frankly, has not enjoyed in the last couple of years. Strong multi-generational connection with the brand. We've covered the reason why, all the mistakes that the Walt Disney Company has made, kind of diving into politics, especially with a lot of their animated products, and that has hurt them considerably at the box office. Disney has been beaten soundly by Illumination and Universal last year, just with Minions: Rise of Gru alone. When you compare it to things like Strange World and the disaster that was Lightyear over the same time, you can see here Nintendo's brand recognition, a much higher positive, a much higher grab, as is Universal's Illumination Studios because of things like Minions. This is making for a hell of a perfect storm and some big box office damage that Super Mario Brothers can bring in on Easter week. Most projection models are stronger than those of any animated release since Frozen 2, outside of Illumination's own Minions: The Rise of Gru last summer, and some more bullish metrics indicate that the latter film's scale of performance is on the table, meaning that they think the scale of performance that Minions: Rise of Gru got, as we mentioned before, just coming shy of $1 billion is on the table. I'm here to call it right now. This movie is going to exceed the $1 billion mark, short of this movie coming out and being an absolute boondoggle that audiences can't stand. But from the looks of the trailers at this point, I can't see how that's possible, considering everything that they have put into making this movie look exactly like the games that everybody for generations has enjoyed. With no other major family releases since December's Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, a brisk 92-minute runtime for Mario, and a long runway into early summer with minimal direct competition, the surrounding absence of major family animation fare is likely to result in pent-up demand driving strong, casual audience appeal. Those and other factors will play big roles over the long 6-day holiday opening, beginning with a Wednesday release, leading into Good Friday, and then continuing to Easter and a post-holiday inflated Easter Monday, all before eventual staying power comes into view should word of mouth be strong. And that's exactly it. This thing is going to have a long opening weekend, and the 3-day figures they're looking at here, bear in mind, they're not the 3 days that we typically think of with a Friday release, because this movie, like the article says, is releasing on a Wednesday. As a reminder, this is after Universal decided to push up the release date by 2 days from Friday, April 7th, as originally intended, back to Wednesday, April 5th, and this was largely built around trying to coincide it with a great deal of international releases that were already coming earlier in the week, particularly in China. While the video game movies have been more miss than hit throughout history, the trend has started to reverse thanks to the box office success of Detective Pikachu, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Uncharted in recent years. Mario, however, is cut from a different cloth. As a fully fledged animated film with no true points of comparison in the post-pandemic era, plus social media impact that leaves a bit to be desired. Finally, it also remains to be seen how front or back-loaded the film may be with the midweek release and fan demand in the mix. A lot of that is going to depend on whether audiences wait to see the movie until after Easter weekend has happened or if they're going to run in before. There's going to be a good bit of folks that are going to run in there for Tuesday night previews, Wednesday and Thursday showings. But a lot of folks who celebrate the Christian faith and celebrate Easter are very unlikely to go see this film on Good Friday or Holy Saturday. They're probably, if anything, that weekend would go see it Easter Sunday after they get out of Mass, and then into the next week when there's still a lot of people that are out of school for that post-Easter week. Easter Monday is still a big holiday for a lot of Catholic schools and private schools alike. So don't be surprised if we see a big bump into that Monday. This one's going to take some looking at, but again, at the end of the day, this is all going to depend on how well this movie strikes a chord with its intended audiences, which, quite frankly, at this point is virtually everybody. And just what are the expectations right now? Well, here you go. These numbers opening on April 5th, as of right now, based on tracking information they have available from early ticket pre-sales, $71 to $105 million in the opening 3 days. Now, that's a pretty big number for an animated feature like this. That's a number that would rival the most recent Marvel Cinematic Universe opening if the 100 million side comes into play. And of course, what it's probably going to do in the days subsequent to that will certainly beat Ant-Man 3, almost assuredly. But what's really telling is the long-range projection on the total box office haul based on those opening 3 days. Take a look at that number. $300 to $427 million domestic haul. That is the estimated domestic haul. That is incredible. A 71 to 105 opening, they believe, is going to roll out to a $300 to $427 million total domestic. That means that we could very likely have another rare occurrence where a film opens at or above a $100 million mark and still manages to roll out to a 4x set of legs like that. It's fairly rare to see a movie that opens north of $100 million make it to even a 3x, but you can see the kind of power that Box Office Pro expects this brand to be able to generate over a pretty good course of time. It's got all the way until May 5th before it really has any serious competition. And that, of course, is another Chris Pratt movie, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So Super Mario Bros. Is going to have a good long time to really rack up the numbers, with the exception of 2 key international markets. You see, if Super Mario Bros. Does $400 million at the U.S. box office, don't be at all surprised to see if it makes $500 to $600 million in the rest of the world, not including China. China may be another 100 plus, maybe even 200 million on top of that. But there are 2 markets that will not open on April 5th, and they're 2 big ones, especially for Mario. See, those 2 markets are Japan and South Korea. Japan and South Korea's markets for Mario Brothers do not open until late April and early May, respectively. That is going to put a little dent on the international box office numbers, so I want to alert everybody up front when they see international numbers that might not quite be as robust as they were expecting. But for right now, Mario is still going to enjoy a heck of a run. We don't really know what the production budget is yet at this point, but I'm sure we're going to find out relatively soon before the movie opens. If I had to guess at this point, knowing Universal Studios, Also, knowing the history of Illumination Studios, their production budget for this film is probably going to come in at or around $100 million. Both of the Minions movies came in at about $75 to $90 million in that range. I'm sure Mario probably cost a bit more because of the acting talent that was brought in versus a lot of other animated features that come out. Maybe it even goes a little bit higher than 100, but I'm sure at this point it's not anything that Universal, Illumination, or Nintendo for that matter, or at all, worried about, because it's not just the box office for this film. It will enjoy a very nice long run on Netflix after it gets to Peacock, and then over there, it's the merchandising right now with Mario that is selling like hotcakes and will get even bigger once this movie comes out. This will be a billion-dollar merchandise seller just on this movie alone, I suspect. Don't forget, the Minions Rise of Gru had $6 billion in retail sales in the bank before that movie opened, over the course of time between that and all the Despicable Me predecessors. Big stuff, big merchandising. Disney's probably jealous. They wish they probably still had something like that was that big of a juggernaut. Just can't seem to get anything going. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. We'll talk more about this box office as we get closer to it, and we'll have a box office weekend wrap-up on Sunday morning ahead of the live show at 6 p.m. Eastern, March 12th, right here on Valiant Renegade. We hope to see you there. Hit that like button, share this sucker out on social medias, and until next time, take care.